Yeah. I know I'm about a week late on the whole Cars 3 trailer train, or should I say car. I'm so sorry. I'm assuming all the viewers have gone now, so... Hello there, how you doing? So, first things first. Why is the trailer so dark? Personally, I think it's the producers of the film reaching out to the now teenagers who loved the original Cars as kids. These teenagers who, let's be real, aren't interested in films about talking cars anymore, are all spending a lot of time on social media, and are much more interested in less happy-clappy things, and are more interested in things that are darker. Which is why this trailer is pure genius. Because they know that kids are going to go see this film. They know they're going to make a lot of money off this film. Because there's always going to be an audience of kids who want to see a film about talking cars. But this trailer is reaching out to the older audience. The audience that spends a lot of time on social media, who loved the original Cars film as kids. And has actually been a huge success in doing that. Since this whole trailer of Lightning McQueen crashing has completely blown up on social media. If you compare the views from this trailer to their previous 3 trailers, it has more than Finding Dory, Inside Out, and The Good Dinosaur put together. And people are talking about it. And these people that are talking about the film are the people that love the original Cars. And I'd say this trailer's got people that wouldn't have been interested in the film interested in the film. Even I rearranged my video schedule to make a video about this trailer. And that's why this trailer is just pure brilliance from Pixar. But back to the question at hand. Will Cars 3 be good? Realistically, in my opinion, I'm going to say no. How can you say that? The trailer is so good! Okay, well, I think it depends on why you're going to see the film. So that's why I did a Twitter poll seeing what your stance on the Cars franchise was. And 101 people voted! Considering this video is probably going to get a few thousand views, that isn't really a large number of people. Unless everyone just stops watching me. So yeah, that's a reason to follow me on Twitter. But if you don't, have a look at the poll and make a mental note on where you stand. Now, the poll actually surprised me. 19% of you said that Cars is your favourite film franchise of all time, and that the Cars movies are just your favourite films of all time. Yeah, that was unexpected. And if you're part of that 19%, the answer to the question, will Cars 3 be good, is yes. You'll love it. I think it'll be as good as the original Cars, and significantly better than Cars 2. So for 19% of you, you can keep your heads held high and be really excited for Cars 3. And then there was also 6% of you who said that you hate it, or haven't seen it. And if you're in the portion of people that haven't seen it, you're probably not going to see Cars 3, so I don't really know what to say to you. If you hate it, then you're probably not going to like Cars 3 either. The idea behind Cars isn't for everyone. And realistically, if you don't like the idea behind a film, you're not gonna like the film. So I guess that's bad news for that 6% of you. When it comes to me, I'm personally kind of split between these first 2 categories. In terms of Pixar films, the Cars films are 2 of my least favourite. But I kind of have a soft spot for Cars because it came bang in the middle of Pixar's so-called magic streak. What's Pixar's magic streak, Seamus? Glad you asked. From the years 2001 to 2009, Pixar released 7 original films, not sequels, in a row. Each of these films being critically acclaimed and having success at the box office. And I just personally refer to it as the magic streak because there were 7 films. Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo, The Incredibles, Cars, Ratatouille, WALL-E, and Up. And as Lord Voldemort said in The Half-Blood Prince, isn't 7 the most powerfully magic number? And that's why I call it the magic streak. Yeah, I'm kind of just weird, I don't know. And that streak, in my opinion, is what makes Pixar the greatest film company in the world. And as I said, Cars comes bang in the middle of that streak. But then I'd also say that Cars is my least favourite film from that streak. And if I was to make a list of my favourite Pixar films, Cars would be relatively near the bottom of that list too. It might be down to the fact I was never really that into sports cars as a kid or even as a teenager for that matter. And the films I guess just weren't targeted at someone like me. To such an extent where I, being a strong independent 8-year-old, refused to go see Cars at the cinema in 2006 because I just didn't think it looked very good. And I was also at an age where I thought kids' films were just like babyish. I've moved past that. I love kids' films now. And now to move on to the topic I've been trying to avoid. Cars 2. Hands down, my least favourite Pixar film. The only Pixar film I've ever watched without enjoying it. It's a known fact this film was a bit of a cash grab, but the worrying thing was the extent to its success at the box office. It made more money at the box office than WALL-E. Yeah, WALL-E. Everyone loves WALL-E, which just goes to show there's always going to be a young audience of kids that love films about talking cars. Even when the original audience grows out of it, there'll be new, younger kids who are going to love the film. So it's pretty safe to assume that Cars 3 is going to be a success at the box office. But will it actually be good? And back to the poll. As I said, I was kind of split between the top two, because I like Cars and I don't like Cars 2. But I still think Cars is one of Pixar's worst movies. But then again, that's mostly just because their movies are so good. And that's why I think Cars 3 isn't going to be that good. Because the franchise isn't really my favourite, and cars and racing was never really my thing. Personally, the release of Cars 3 comes as a bit of an annoyance to me, because they could be making more original movies like Inside Out, which was just amazing, but instead they're spending their time making another Cars film. But you know, that's just my opinion. So, what do we know about the film? From what Pixar tell us in the description of the film is that, blindsided by a new generation of blazing fast racers, the legendary Lightning McQueen is suddenly pushed out of the sport he loves. To get back in the game, he will need the help of an eager young race technician, Cruz Ramirez, with her own plan to win, plus the inspiration from the late fabulous Hudson Hornet, and a few unexpected turns. Proving that number 95 isn't through yet will test the heart of a champion on Piston Cup Racing's biggest stage. And this tells us that the film won't be as dark as the trailer's implying. But I don't think that's necessarily a huge surprise. We've got to remember that this film is targeted at kids, and they don't want to make the mistake of making it too dark or sad like The Good Dinosaur again. However, I do believe that this film will be much darker than Cars and Cars 2, because as I said, it is targeted at the older teenage audience just as well as kids. So therefore, if you are a teenager, I would recommend you go see it, because you'll probably enjoy it. And if you loved Cars as a kid, there'll be so much nostalgia, and you'll probably really enjoy it, as I said. So my final verdict is that Cars 3 will be good, for the Cars franchise, and for making Pixar money. In terms of good Pixar films, it's not going to be that great. I'm hopeful it will live up to be as good as Cars, and I'm almost certain it will outperform Cars 2, as long as they keep the story true to Cars, rather than basically just turning the cars into humans. So if you voted in the poll, love Cars, hate Cars 2, you're probably going to enjoy this film, because as I said, I think it will be as good as Cars, maybe even better. And if you voted worst Pixar, but still okay, you'll probably think this film is okay, but just okay. And it might actually disappoint you, because you'll be kind of annoyed that Pixar are spending their time making another Cars film, rather than making great original films. Meaning that from the results of this poll, the majority of you will presumably enjoy this film. And I think that I'm going to enjoy this film. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed and hope for the best. Personally, I've never made a theory on Cars. I spend more time watching like Toy Story, Inside Out, The Incredibles, Monsters Inc. because I prefer them as films. So if you do want to see a Cars theory in the future, please let me know down in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, and maybe watch another Pixar video here on my Pixar playlist, and subscribe by clicking here, and I will see you guys next time. Also, I'm planning on making a Q&A video soon, so if you have a question and want to be featured in my next video, send the question to me on Twitter with the hashtag AskSeamus.